I have two topics for you this week: poor management and leadership, and that you don't heal and grow in therapy. And we're going to apply this principle to the workforce. Let's talk about that. Hi, I'm Sylvia, an organizational psychologist, and I talk about anything and everything related to HR and people management, people experiences and people management. And this week, managers and leaders are on my agenda because I end up saying way too often that, hey, lovely, the reason you are doing your employees' jobs is because you don't know how to do yours. And that's the first topic. I really want to talk about it. And let's take this apart because I see different types of people. And the first one is the one who always complains about their team members. Now, here is the thing. And if you are in a leadership or management role and you have this habit of blaming your team members, you need to understand something. The moment you verbalize it to others, we know that you are a poor leader or a poor manager. You are reflecting everything that you are saying is reflecting on you. So stop doing it, because for us it's a very clear message that you should not be in this role. And here is why. Because if you are a manager or a leader, your team's performance is your responsibility. Their growth, development, their level of competence is your responsibility. It is your responsibility that they have a direction, a goal that they are working towards. It is your responsibility that they have clarity over what's supposed to be done. What are the priorities? I absolutely hate leaders and managers who empower and delegate in a way that they just throw people in deep water, sink and swim kind of approach. And then they sit back and complain, but they don't know what to do. How on earth would they know what to do? Maybe you didn't give them a goal. Just, here is the job, figure it out. And we do that even with senior leaders. So here is not particularly, I'm blaming leadership and managers, because I see that across organizations at every level, that you are a leader, you are a manager, you should be able to figure things out. Well, guess what? We know that it's not the case. And I see them being thrown into these big roles. Figure things out. They cannot. Everybody, all of us needs some sort of direction. This is what we want to achieve. From then onwards, leaders, managers, and employees can rely on their level of competence, on their skills, knowledge, and experience and expertise to figure things out. But if I don't have a direction, what do you want me to figure out? Like, what's the direction? Then I don't need you. It's that simple, So there is no delegation and empowerment without goal, direction, and what we want to achieve. There is no delegation and empowerment without training. Because if you are giving me tasks to do, but I don't have the training, I don't know how to do it, I don't have the level of competence that it requires, then you are just setting me up for failure. There is no empowerment and delegation without guidance and coaching and maybe mentoring. So this idea that, empowered employees are just put in their roles and then they figure it out, it's just simply stupid. Like, it's that stupid. Just go back how we raise children, how we teach them how to walk, how to teach them how to talk. We're constantly helping and guiding and teaching and coaching. We don't just have a child, here we go, here is the big wide world, figure it out. We all we all know how to speak, so you're going to learn it from us. Just, shadow people. We don't do that. And it's the same principle that applies in organizations. Now, the type of manager who does that, he or she does that because don't have the skills how to manage people, don't have the understanding that is part of the job. And I see that often, that managers and leaders get upset when they are supposed to be, when they're supposed to manage employees and their performance. Last week I had a conversation with a very senior leader, and he was complaining about his junior team members. And when this happens, for me, is always a red flag. I'm like, dude, you are talking about yourself, not so much about your employees, okay? Now you're just revealing your incompetence to me, and you don't even see it. And that's probably a bigger problem than your employees' performance right now, because employees' lack of competence and performance always comes from management, one way or another, managers and leaders. Because if you are a competent manager or leader, you're going to start managing, learning, training, performance and your employees. And if you can't, you do everything with that particular employee or a group of employees, and they still don't perform despite all your, efforts, then you manage them out of the organization. That's what competent people do. But they don't sit around and complain, especially about their own employees. Because guess what? If I'm in charge of a group of people and their performance and their growth and their learning and the development and everything that they do, and they don't do a good job, that's on me. And I'm the last person. That's my responsibility. And I fail to, meet my responsibilities. I didn't do my job. And it comes back to me and is literally just telling others that I can't do my job. So, and I'm the last one who gets to complain about my team members. So never do that, because you are just revealing your incompetence. So this particular leader, we were talking, having dinner, and then he talks about how incompetent their employees are. And then I'm like, tell me a little bit more about it. And he says, I need to make sure that they come on time, they stay, during the required working hours, they don't exceed their lunch breaks, they deliver their task, they know what they're supposed to do. I need to micromanage them and all that. And I look at him. I'm like, this is what we call performance management. I'm like, this is part of the job of a manager and a leader. I'm like, you are complaining about something that's in your job description. And he was like, no, I have other things to do. I'm like, yes, you do. As a manager or leader, you have two areas of your job. One is managing people and their performance. And the second is managing and leading the business. I'm like, you just want to manage and lead the business. You don't want to deal with your employees. And managing and dealing with employees and leading them is probably 80% of the job. And that's the 80% that you don't want to do. You want to do your strategy and the 20%. I'm like, spend 2 hours a day on that and 6 hours on your employees, and things will change. And he was shocked. I'm like, I'm not going to entertain your misery and how poor you are. I'm like, if people are under my care and I'm in charge of their performance and I'm responsible for them, I will take responsibility for whether they perform or not. And that's the rest to the story. There is nothing more. I cannot blame my employees, because that says everything about me and not about my employees. And the second part that I told him is that, look, I always looked at my job as a manager, supervisor, or leader, that if I'm lucky enough that I happen to have a team, obviously I worked really hard. I always trained everybody to my level. So if I die today, everything continues as it is. They don't need to call me outside of working hours. They don't need to call me for anything. I used to tell my employees, call me when the building is on house or I really need to come here. For every information, knowledge, skills, system, I train them on everything. I always work towards that my employees don't need me. That's what I like. I like independent employees. So I told him, I'm like, if I'm lucky enough to have a team who is capable of doing that, then I'm just so grateful that I don't need to spend too much time on managing my employees' performance. But in real world, and I had teams, or team members rather, that required, not micromanaging, I don't like the word, but required them me to manage them constantly. Hey, what time is your lunch break? Great. So you're back at 2 o'clock? Fantastic. What are we doing after 2 o'clock? Just like that, keeping them on track, because some people need that. And I never complained about that. I adjusted to my employees always. And some would fly with no direction, and just sometimes you have to put them back on track. Hey, we're not going this way, we're going that way. Fantastic. And they figured it out. And I had employees who required, I can think of one particular case. He required even for us to wake him up to make it on time to work. And I never complained about it. I gave the task to my switchboard manager. Your job, you guys, put it on your checklist, 6 a.m., Monday to Friday, you call Ian. Because I want Ian to be in the office at 7 a.m. I worked in the hotel, so we had 24-hour shift. I never complained. I could have disciplined him. I could have fired him for continuous lateness. I chose, if this is what it takes, that I give you a call at 6 a.m. to wake you up, to be here at 7, I'll do it. Now, I wouldn't do it in every case. It was a very special case. But I'd never complained about him. I made it work somehow. And he required, and others as well, more focused attention. Not micromanaging, focused attention. And I was always happy to do it. That's part of my job. And the guy sitting opposite me last week during this dinner, he goes like, I never looked at management and leadership this way. I'm like, this is literally the job. I'm like, what do you want to manage? What do you manage? What do you want to manage and lead if it's not people? So, if you are a manager or leader, please start understanding that this is part of your job. And the second part of this conversation is that some managers and leaders do that because they don't know how to do their performance, they're managing their employees, and they don't even know how to do their own job, that 20%. So they default back to the tasks that they used to do when they were line level employees, individual contributors, before they got promoted. And I see that so often. F&B manager in the hotel industry, folding napkins. I walk by, I'm like, what the hell are you doing folding napkins? Is this why we are paying you for? I'm like, you have 50 employees here. What the hell are they doing? Why? Because the guy had to design a new menu and he didn't know how to do it. And you see that, start looking around in organizations when people are not doing the jobs that they are hired for, managers and leaders, and they end up doing their employees' jobs, is because either they are really poor in managing and leading and directing and training people, or maybe they're good at it, but they don't want to do it because they keep themselves busy with the task that they know how to do, which is the lower level task. The problem is that they are not being paid for that. They are being paid to be managers and leaders, create strategies, manage the workforce, manage resources, duty rosters, deal with suppliers, whatever the role is, right? And the third option is why people do that. And I also see that. So the third type of manager is really, and leader, is they don't want to delegate because knowledge is power. They end up doing everything. So they think we can't fire them because they know how to do the things and nobody else knows. Well, lovelies, let me break it to you. If you die tomorrow with all that knowledge that you think you have about your job and role and the in and outs, the company will still continue running. And based on this and what I have seen, companies will still fire you if they want to fire you. No matter what knowledge you have, no matter what skills you have, because none of us, literally none of us are irreplaceable. You think you can make yourself irreplaceable by holding knowledge and power and information and system access. I have seen everything. I'm like, why are you doing that? And then they end up complaining that they have too much on their plate. Well, because of you. But all that, don't do it, because companies will still fire you. because we know that none of us are irreplaceable. So that's about managers. And the second part is, or the second topic managers and leaders I was talking about. And the second topic is, I have my favorite mental health professional on Instagram. And today she said something, there was a video, that you don't grow you don't go through counseling and in therapy. You grow in the streets. And I'm like, yes. If you were a feral kid like I was, you know what she's talking about. And I was thinking, I'm like, that's so true. You actually have to go and do things. That's how we grow and learn. Not in therapy, not in one-to-one sessions and coaching and mentoring. Now, that can be part of your journey, right? I'm not saying no, but that's not where growth happens. And the same applies to corporations and learning and training and doing the actual job. Because you don't actually grow in the classroom session. You don't grow through, coaching and mentoring. You grow through doing those things that you are learning during a course, during a conversation, a workshop, during the conversation that you've been having with your mentors and coach. You don't grow there. That's just literally conceptualizing and understanding it. But then the growth happens when you go out there and you start doing those things. Because what's the point of me learning how to do comp and benefit, for example, or anything in HR, when I don't get to go and do those things? And for me, that was always the most exciting thing. I'm intellectual and very curious, very curious. But I like information. But each time when I read something and when something is super exciting, I always have this urge. I'm like, can I go and do it? I don't know how to do it. Like, I understand, but I don't know how to I want to do it. And this is where growth happens, because you are going to fail. You are going to make mistakes. You're going to stop and then say, oh, maybe I can't go further. I don't know how to do it. And then you're going to have to go and figure it out. And I think this is beautiful. And I think in corporations, we have a lot of focus on certifications, programs, and all that, and very less focus or minimum focus on application of what you know. Because you hear all these thought leaderships and gurus and theories and, things. Okay, that's all good. We all understand. But nothing happens. And that's, we have statistics that after these big conferences, these training courses that employers are sending employees are coming back to the workforce and nothing happens. All that knowledge is lost because we are so scared of applying it because, first of all, it's unknown. We have never done it, so it's scary. Second of all, sometimes corporations are not, they are too risk-averse or don't try anything new. So, okay, I have the knowledge which I'm going to lose because, human brain gets rid of what is not required and needed. And we just wasted money and time and energy on training programs or coaching or mentoring or on therapy. You can sit in therapy for 20 years if you don't go out there and start doing what is required to do. This is where growth and learning happens, not in therapy. And for me, this sentence, you grow in the streets, not in therapy, it brought it home. I'm like, yes, I knew that always. I never made it a sentence like that. So yes, and some people in academia have discredited the 70, 20, and 10 learning framework, which I actually see that in the workforce. That's how we learn. 70% is doing the job, is application. And I think that theory should have never been discredited. We have millions of other stupid theory that must be, but not this one, because that is real life. You learn a little bit, you talk through it, coaching, mentoring, social networking, and all that. You see what others are doing, and then you go and you do it. You take on the risk, you apply your knowledge, your skills, and I think that's the most exciting thing in the world of corporation. Last week I saw something on a HR conference and I really want to do it. Do I see it all the way through? How would that happen? No, but I'm very happy to jump in, and I trust my skills and knowledge and capabilities to figure it out, as I go along. And when we don't have that, we don't even try. We just sit in therapy and one more course, one more lesson, one more workshop, because we are not sure. You're never going to be sure about anything. Give me a little bit of information, I go and do it. Give me more information, I go and do it. Give me more. And that's how you build everything throughout the years in your life. Not that you sit down, learn everything about a topic, and that's it. Now you're good. That's not how it is. So I hope I helped you with this. Sorry, I'm cooking. You should see my kitchen. Don't. And I know it wasn't a very cohesive video, but I was just thinking about it since yesterday, the leaders and managers of this week, and then this lady, this video this morning. And I'm like, I need to talk about that. So I hope it helped. And if I find her video, I will put it in the comment field, and enjoy and follow her. She's the most amazing mental health professional out there, not living in La La Land. She gets down to what reality is and tells you straight in your face that, hey, don't affirming your emotions is just creating victimhoods and victims around. And I really love her take. It's a very fresh new perspective, and pushes back against the mainstream narrative of everybody's a victim and we all need a therapist. No, I'm the only person in my family who never been to a therapy, and I will never, because I've got what it takes.